Yeah, it was, to me, like, that outcome was a bit shocking, right, early in the year. Notre Dame, to me, is as complete a team in college lacrosse. They seem to be a little clicky in terms of how they play. Like, their momentum can take them in and out of games at times. But Notre Dame, when they put it together, very hard to beat.
Syracuse wins the opening faceoff. John Mullen getting the better of Will Lynch, and the Orange go to work. Syracuse staggers into this game on a 3-game losing streak. They have not won since beating Notre Dame. Owen Hiltz turns the corner, missed the cage. One big injury note for Notre Dame. The Irish will be without ACC Freshman of the Year, Matt Jeffrey, out today. Notre Dame says his status up in the air for Sunday should Notre Dame get there. First midfield for Syracuse includes Michael Leo, Luke Roa, and English. Here is Spallina.
Matched up against Ramsey, one of the best short stick D-middies in the country. I like this matchup for Syracuse, though.
Spallina gets free, hisses it wide. 90 in white for Notre Dame. Sean Light, ACC co-defensive player of the year with Duke's Aiden McGuire. Spallina sandwich, shovels it back to X. Hiltz on the doorstep, puts it through.
Right-handed for Hiltz. Doesn't happen often, but what a start for Syracuse. That was an amazing possession. Owen Hiltz has now scored 55 of the 60 games he's played in his college career. But Syracuse right there, a nice flow on offense. Joey Spallina does a nice job catching the ball in traffic, gets it up to Leo, right? Look at the composure, the one-handed pass behind the cage, and then Hiltz comes the backside, moves it to his right hand, his weak hand, but the nice patient finish.
Gary Gate telling us yesterday that Hiltz, who's been banged up, they recently got Finn Thompson back. He feels those two now back at full strength for this ACC tournament.
Look, this is a Syracuse team. If they get possession, the skill on offense is off the charts. And what I like about what I'm seeing there as we battle here for a ground ball is Joey Spallina making an impact early, putting some pressure on Notre Dame. And some of the big matchups, he's had a tendency in his career to kind of let the game come to him, in my opinion, too much. I love that offensive possession.
In the first meeting with Notre Dame, Syracuse used Spallina off ball, went for 4 goals and an assist.
I mean, he's so smart. He understands the game at a high level, and he just knows. Like, I love that for them.
There's Tyler McCarthy, second midfield for Syracuse. Tyler Cordes, that one off the skirt. Ricciardelli scoops it out.
But again, another offensive possession. Syracuse doing a nice job moving the ball.
For Notre Dame, they have come out sluggish in games recently. Against North Carolina, they went 29+ minutes without scoring. They only had 1 goal until the final minute last week against Penn. Had a long drought against Virginia, 30+ minutes. They only scored 1 goal, and then went 40 minutes without a goal in their loss to Syracuse.
Yeah, and look, this is a Notre Dame team. When they are clicking in all cylinders, where their midfield is making things happen, they look unbeatable. But unlike last year's team, they have some lulls. They can get lost.
Jake Taylor misses wide. So one of the early wrinkles, Wilma Harris, the junior from Chicago, gets the bump up to first midfield with Matt Jeffrey out.
And to me, Notre Dame, I mean, the midfield is the key to this team. Yes, I mean, Chris Kavanaugh is amazing. Their attack's great, but it's the pressure that they can put on you with the athletes in the middle of the field that differentiates their program.
Yeah, here's one of them, Jordan Faison, wide receiver for the Irish football team. He's got a short stick matchup in Carter Rice. Shot clock dips inside of 10. Kavanaugh, right hand free, shoots. McCool, the ACC goalkeeper of the year with his first save.
He's got a hot hand right now in cage as Syracuse pushes in transition.
They might have a shot here. Billy Dwan, the long pole goal, the 12th of his career, and the Orange with a little early juice.
Syracuse has what appears to be a little bit more energy here early in the game. And I love that for Syracuse. I mean, look, they're 6-on-6 they beat you with off-ball movement and just pure lacrosse skill. If they can add in between the middle of the field some offense in slow break situations and fast break situations, as Dwan fills in nicely. And again, oftentimes that attackman throws it behind X, but Spallina able to see the field and puts the nice pass on Dwan, who bombs it to the top portion of the cage.
35, Dwan, the first.
You look at where Syracuse is, RPI number 10, on the bubble. If there's no chaos, if Army wins the Patriot League, if Richmond wins the A-10, if Yale doesn't win the Ivy, Syracuse probably in, even with a loss. But we got the sense from Gary Gate, they knew what the stakes were, and they don't want to leave it to chance.
Message heard, it appears, based on how they've come out here early in the ACC
Now they got to get it
semifinals.
across midfield, and they do with a second to spare. It's Dwan. 20 seconds to get it across midfield, or before that shot clock hits 60, and you are allowed to go over and back in the first 20 seconds.
And it's interesting in offense, right? Spallina matched up against Light, who's one of, if not the best covermen in the country. But Spallina's really strong in the off-ball stuff. So I kind of like that matchup for Syracuse, because you're taking Notre Dame's best coverman and not letting him use that skill.
15 in blue. English save Richard Deli. How good has Sam English been this year? Number 2 pick in the NLL draft. He's played both ways. He has been a first-team All-American midi.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love his game. And again, from his time at Princeton to now at Syracuse, I mean, the definition of a do-it-all midfielder.
Roa can shoot on the run. Hilt's a great through passer. Leo from the wing. Ramsey denies the angle. English behind the cage, Hiltz. Probing against Schwitzenberg. Leo, he's got that first step. He's got that quickness. Roa on courts and connects.
This is the offense from Syracuse we've been missing in their 3-game losing streak. But man, they're getting whatever they want on offense. Opportunity after opportunity.
His 21st of the season.
As we look at Nick Roa, who gets the 3rd goal for Syracuse. But just look at Syracuse offense, right? You have English here off the pipe, another high-quality shot. They back it up. And then again, Leo doing a nice job initiating, gets to his strong left hand, and now Notre Dame is compromised. And Roa, probably the best outside shooter on Syracuse, hands-free, gonna make you pay all day.
A huddle coming out of that timeout. He said, we got to stay on our matchups. We got to communicate, which seems like basic defense, but don't pass the player off, the Spallina to Dwan. You stay on your matchup until you're not on your matchup anymore. They have to communicate through some of those slips and picks.
Face-off violation on Syracuse. I saw Kevin Corrigan before the game. I asked him about the hat. I said, same hat, huh? And he goes, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Second midfield now for Notre Dame. 6 in white, Fisher Finley. Out there with Jalen Seymour and Max Buzenkill. That was a difference for Notre Dame, Matt, a year ago. Their midfield depth was a flex.
I mean, it was, look, they were running out of 3rd midfield, as good as most teams' 1st midfield. And again, their midfield's still a weapon. This year, not as deep. And with Jeffries, the freshman, not playing today, you know, they have to step up.
There's Devin McClain feeding inside. Taylor couldn't get the shot off. Irish still looking for their first goal. Now Kavanaugh from X. Shot clock inside of 20. Kavanaugh probing. 8 to shoot. Kavanaugh turns the corner. That got a piece of McCool. And it is Syracuse ball. Matt, that was the second midfield out there for Notre Dame. But without Matt Jeffrey, What does that do in terms of how teams now can defend Notre Dame?
Well, if you look at what differentiates Notre Dame's midfield is the athleticism, right? Like it's unmatched in college lacrosse. You have Notre Dame football players playing lacrosse, right? Jeffrey is one of those people. And so you're able now to spend some more attention and not have to feel the need to slide because maybe they're not getting as much separation, so you can play a little bit better team defense.
And we've also seen teams double pole, Faison and Jeffrey. Now you can put a pole back on McLean. You don't have to double pole. Off the turnover, the Irish looking for their first goal. Almost halfway through this opening quarter. Notre Dame has been a slow starter of late. Long dodge by Kavanaugh. Nobody picked him up and he scores. Way too easy for Chris Kavanaugh.
Notre Dame getting an extra possession here. Donovan with the check, causing the turnover. And then they get an offense, and to me right there, just a miscommunication from Syracuse on the defensive end. Way too easy for Kavanaugh to get his hands that open at such a dangerous part in the field.
Slide never got there. Chris Kavanaugh, newly minted ACC Offensive Player of the Year. Last year he was the most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament. Third all-time in points at Notre Dame, behind brother Pat and Randy Colley. And only Randy Colley has scored more goals in an Irish uniform. We get a loose ball push on Syracuse, and it comes with a flag. This was a physical game when they played back in April.
Syracuse
22 blue, 22 blue, unsportsmanlike conduct, 1 minute, full time.
Full time, so that means Notre Dame will have the extra man for the entire minute. They get Spallina.
Must have said something on that ground ball.
Syracuse penalty is charged to 22.
The minute unreleasable. And I think he gets upset with maybe that push call there, and you can see him kind of show his emotions.
You think it had to be something he said?
It must have not been nice to get a minute unreleasable.
Kavanaugh from the outside missed the cage. Last year, Notre Dame was historically good with the extra man. This year, middle of the pack. Devin McLean buzzes it a little too high.
And last year, I mean, Pat Kavanaugh, the quarterback, was such a weapon. Now they're asking maybe their best shooter, Chris Kavanaugh, to be more of that quarterback. So they're kind of missing that 1-2 punch.
Kavanaugh lost it. Syracuse scoops. English turbos ahead. Angrick in pursuit.
I mean, how cool is that, right? Probably one of their, if not their best midi, right, on the offensive end. Playing man-down defense.
You watch a guy like Sam English, put him in the PLL. Ryan Conrad?
Yeah, very similar. And look, that's worked out for him in the, in the PLL, and he's just that do-it-yourself, all over the field, can make an impact. I think he's maybe a little bit better on the one-on-one defense than maybe Conrad was.
There's Leo against Reinhardt. Notre Dame deep in the rope unit. Reinhardt, Ramsey, Alakwa, Buckner. Ramsey now guarding English, who has not left the field. English, twister, shot blocked. Light pops it in the air, able to corral. Notre Dame retains.
And credit Ramsey, number 24, there, knowing that English is a predominant right-handed player, forcing him to the short side of the field, and that allows them to bring the slide. He's not going to move it to his left hand and cause that turnover. Scouting matters on the defensive end, knowing which hand or what their tendencies are. Not only on the one-on-one matchups, but for what you allow your slide and your second slides to do on the defensive end.
Faison with the short stick, Carter Rice. Out of the box, Angrick.
And look, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but I think Faison is the key to this Notre Dame team. They need him to create their offense.
That's a shot clock reset off the rebound. McLean couldn't find it. And Figueres gets it to McCool. Syracuse will clear. Clearing. It's been a little hit or miss down the stretch for Syracuse. Really struggled in that area last time out in the loss to Carolina. In the first meeting against Notre Dame, they allowed Notre Dame to get back into the game in the second half due to poor clearing.
And it's one of those things where when I played, however long ago that was, 2 decades ago, clearing wasn't like a problem. But so many teams put so much more emphasis on the riding and the complexity of it.
Wyatt Hoddle's shot turned away, saved Ricciardelli. There's the quick outlet. Notre Dame will run. Buckner leading the charge. Buckner all the way, shoots offline. Kavanaugh the backup. Why do you think it is teams ride more now than they did?
I think teams are willing to take more risk. Like they're throwing that 10-man out there that, we used to get 10-man and be like, oh, this is an opportunity to score. Now it's like they have so many different wrinkles to it. The strategy behind clearing has changed completely. The athleticism of the attackman riding it back in the middle of the field makes a difference.
Also, you have a shot clock now.
Absolutely.
So there's an urgency to move. A save by McCool. No, went over. He got a piece of it. Taylor will dig it out. Notre Dame 1 for 9 shooting. The freshman Luke Miller feeding inside. Buzenkill, the quick stick score.
Notre Dame with a nice offensive set. Luke Miller with the nice little face dodge here to his right hand. And the nice touch pass. Buzenkill filling to the back post. Pass a little low, but the pace of it was great. A catchable ball, and Buzenkill, right here, you can see that cut. 3 Syracuse defensemen cutting to the left side. Maybe a little bit early for them to kind of show that much help to Miller. And then Miller with a nice job with his eyes up, looking in the middle of the field. Gets his first assist of the game.
Notre Dame comes into this game riding a 13-game winning streak in the month of May. They went 3-1 in the ACC. Last year, they went 6-0 against ACC opponents. Average margin of victory, almost 8 goals per game. And when we saw them in the ACC tournament, in the semis, they beat Virginia by 9 and then blasted Duke by 10 on Sunday.
And those scores were generous, right? Like they were up big early as Syracuse. Almost the carbon copy of the Notre Dame goal. Counters and gets their 4th of the game.
Luke Roa from Owen Hiltz. And that's 2 for Roa.
But again, you're going to see this here, right? Hiltz, the pick behind. And just the nice, subtle backdoor cut. I mean, Will Donovan, right? Like, looked away for a hot second. And Roa does a nice job just stepping one step closer to the crease. And again, I mean, people don't appreciate how hard the short pass is to the crease. To throw it with that much touch and accuracy, it's easier said than done.
What makes it so difficult?
Honestly, I think a lot of people now have a lot of whip in their stick. And so when you're actually looking to throw those short passes.
Official took a spill.
Yeah, I think you see the Canadian indoor players throw it even better, right? Because they're not shooting from the outside as much as you do in the field game. So they don't have as much whip in their stick. And so when you have a stick that's tendency to throw down to get more heat on your shot, it makes those passes that much harder.
I mean, the short pass, Matt, but how difficult is it when you're that close to the crease to be able to have the finesse to shoot it around the goalkeeper?
It's the touch, and right. Be able to keep that pass up high is something I'm always amazed, and I don't think it's talked about, and how important a skill that is.
Here comes McCarthy, second midfield for the Orange. Anish Shroff, Matt Ward, Dana Boyle. Studio support today, Justin Walters, Jules Henningberg. Outside blast from Cordes, saved. Catapulting out of the cage, Richard Deli. Tiptoes the sideline, little Fred Astaire. And now Ramsey the clear. He's the bagpiper. He's the captain. Bullying Hoddle. Ramsey spun around. Tornado's out of trouble. Shoots low. McCool the save. And the rebound is in. I think they're going to give that to number 21, Brock Berman. What a sequence.
An interesting sequence. Ramsey, one of the best D-middies in the country, puts himself in trouble. Coach Corrigan doesn't call the timeout. Kind of rolls his way out of the double team. And he's like, oh, I'm going to have my hands open here. And then McCool, who's been lights out so far with the save. But then the nice awareness on that one-timer.
It's like a hockey goal right there. Now the puck is loose, and
yeah, I mean, Berman, just the nice job. And again, like the awareness to stay out of the goal mouth. Like, he's not predominantly an offensive player, Berman. And right there to know that, hey, yeah, the easy part's putting this in the back of the cage because McCool's on the ground, but to avoid that goal mouth.
Third goal of the season for Brock Berman. Notre Dame gets the ball off the faceoff. Final 2 minutes. First half. Syracuse jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Irish in the midst of a 3-1 spurt.
And what a chaotic sequence that was, right? It all started with Richardelli out of the cage, getting the ground ball, and then getting it to Ramsey, who put himself into all kinds of trouble. But Notre Dame gets the goal as they step off sides.
Yeah, Schwitzenberg unaware. Now Syracuse waiting for its personnel to get on. Aroa and Leo with English, the first midfield. Aroa's got 2. Leo with an assist. English against Alakwa. Spins it to Leo, down the alley, low shot. Richard Deli the save. He's bounced back after a slow start.
Yeah, the shoes that he had to fill, like,
yeah, those weren't shoes, those were dinosaur footprints.
Like how, and by the way, he wasn't given this job. Like, he wasn't the, hey, this is going to be our guy. He was in an intense battle to win that starting job, and he's been awesome. Like, he maybe a little bit more athletic than Liam Entenmann out of the cage. And again, he's a redshirt sophomore. His first year in the cage, like, you couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, he's got 2 more years. Most of this defense comes back next year. Notre Dame, though, focused on the here and now. Seeking a three-peat. Angrick too high. Final 30 seconds of the opening half. Of the opening quarter. Irish can hold for 1 shot here. Behrman with the short stick, Rice. Kavanaugh dropped it, recovers. Checked by Figueres. Top cover guy for Syracuse. Now Faison. 15 seconds on the game clock. Short stick matchup for Maharis. Syracuse ball with 6 seconds. On a shot, closest to the ball, where and when it goes out of bounds, gets possession.
But again, a well-coached offensive possession for Notre Dame. They know that quarter's running down. We're not going to initiate offense early on. We're getting the last shot. Now, did they generate a great quarter? If you look at Syracuse offense, right, like, Leo's probably the most effective Dodger, right? But Syracuse and Maryland, right? Those are the 2 teams to me that, like, they just get open by ball movement and skill, and, like, that's an understanding of the game and knowing how to pass people open, as Jules said. So I thought they played an awesome first quarter.
Out of bounds to Syracuse, so the Irish that time went with Colin Hagstrom at the face-off X. Lynch took every face-off in the opening quarter. Mullins 6 of 7 for the Qs. There comes Roa. Spins it to Spallina, going low. Richard Deli for the stop.
And Spallina there actually coming to the near side. Not a bad shot. He was actually trying to pull that up to the upper left portion of the cage. He just didn't get enough wrist action and hit Richard Daly right in the midsection.
Harris maneuvers the sideline. Back-to-back games with a goal for Maharis. All lacrosse now for Faison. Spring football has concluded. He was splitting time for most of the spring between football and lacrosse. Kavanaugh gets the pick from McLean. Now picked up by the short stick English. Kavanaugh serpents around the crease. Dumps it back to McLean, who's coming off a big game. Angrick on a bounce to McLean. Shot clock at 16. Here's Maharis. Over to Taylor. He's been quiet. Trail check Grace. That was one of the matchups Syracuse dominated in the first meeting. Michael Grace played his best game in a Syracuse uniform, and Jake Taylor was a non-factor. We saw Syracuse almost try to beat him up. They were physical with 13 and white.
You got to do what you got to do. I mean, Taylor is electric of an off-ball player as you'll ever see. And oftentimes the success you have at defense is being physical, clamping on him, giving him a couple extra shots that make them feel it a little bit more than maybe you can get away with on a more of a dodging type attackman.
We've seen teams do that to Taylor of late. And the rationale has been Notre Dame's best shot is often Jake Taylor around the crease. Take that away. Penn tried to do it last week. Wyatt Hoddle's got burst. Hiltz dangerous from that wing. There's that pass again in close to McCarthy. Finn Thompson missed time this year with an injury, reinserted a couple of weeks ago back into the lineup. 23 in blue. He was playing well before the injury. Spallina now, the ACC's top point getter. Looking to shake the bagpiper Ramsey.
Here's Syracuse here. I think you got to go back to Spallina. Ramsey getting physical on the inside. Needs to be careful.
Looking for help. Shot clock at 4. At 3. At 2. Feet in front. Spallina. Shot clock violation.
And I think Ramsey's very lucky there on the off ball on Spallina. I think the refs maybe saw it late. If he keeps doing that, he will get a penalty for interference.
Trouble with the clear. Vacuumed by Dwan. Syracuse coming off 3 straight losses. Cornell, Duke, and North Carolina. Their last win at home against Notre Dame. English bounces it over the cage.
And Syracuse, if you're looking at really Notre Dame's kind of rotating who's getting the pull. It's between English and Leo, right? And so Syracuse is identifying that on each possession, and they're going to initiate most likely with whichever one of those players isn't being guarded by Donovan.
Gallagher picking up Finn Thompson. Roa, 2 goals already. Shoots on the run. It'll stay with the Cuse.
And I'd love to see Donovan a little bit more there, bend a little bit more towards the cage. Too much of his momentum was going towards the sideline. That was why he was unable to get the shot on cage and missed near side.
Leo, little careless. Buckner takes it away. '27 in white, Nate Schwitzenberg, sophomore from your neck of the woods in Illinois. Notre Dame feels like they've got another young, budding star on defense.
You're seeing more and more players from the Chicago area. I mean, you look at Johnson from Duke, Menendez from Duke. I mean, some of the White from Ohio State, all from the Chicagoland area. That's good for Notre Dame because that will be right in their hotbed of recruitment.
They were such a geographic outlier for so long, and now they recruit nationally. They go get whoever they want. The Mendoza Business School has been a great little tentacle to lure in grad transfers. How about Seymour from long range? We're tied at 4.
Notre Dame ties the game at 4 with Seymour getting his 12th, but it again starts off a turnover from Leo right there. Just kind of looks away to see how much time left on the shot clock, and then Notre Dame makes him pay. Seymour, again, there's that north-south movement I was talking about. You see how he takes this slight bend in right here. You can see he gets his hips going north-south, none of his energy going towards the sideline. That's why he's able to get enough pace and enough deception to beat McCool in the cage.
Jalen Seymour, last year, he was part of that vaunted third midfield, which Notre Dame pulled out late in the season here in Charlotte, and then even in championship weekend.
It was like shocking last year to see him run out of the third midfield. I'm like, how big is he? How
6'4".
fast is he? Like, where are they getting all these athletes from? And, you know, we asked Coach Corrigan about that. He said he used to always talk to his dad about, like, do I recruit athletes or lacrosse players? And he's like, we always kind of erred on the side of the athlete, and they are doing that by far better than any team in the country as a program. Like, they win the middle of the field. Full stop. Like, it's not even close.
It's been a key formula to back-to-back national championships. Syracuse has won 5 face-offs in a row. Peyton Anderson, another big kid for the Cuse. 6'3", 220 from Hopewell Junction, New York. Outside of Poughkeepsie, Hoddle misses. Campese picks it up, quick outlet. Hagstrom took a hit from behind, tries to get it to Kavanaugh. Loose ball. Figueres cleans. Now the counter by the Cuse. Syracuse has missed 9 of its last 10 on offense.
There we go, D!
Spolina 0 for 3, does have an assist.
And I'd like to see Syracuse get back to some of that offense they were demonstrating early. A lot of quick ball movement to start the offensive sets. Initial dodge, but then it's quick pass after pass after pass, getting Notre Dame spread out and generating better quality opportunities than they have here recently.
Here's Hills, turns the corner and stings.
Or just do that. But again, Leo this time going to initiate the offense for Syracuse, right? He's got the short stick matchup, and then Hiltz just does a nice job coming near side. Schweitzenberg gets caught sleeping on the back post, and Hiltz does a nice job just flashing to the front near side. He gets his 36th of the season.
When Gary Gate took over, he harnessed the power of Poutine, the Canadians. Hiltz, Finn Thompson, Mullen on the face-off. Make it, take it, turn and rake it.
Mullen's the MVP right now for Syracuse. Dominating possession. And again, 4 goals. 4 of the 6 goals for Syracuse, direct result of the face-off X.
Dana, we could hear Kevin Corrigan from up here in that last Notre Dame huddle. Are you able to translate what he said?
Yes, I am. He basically was just getting after the guys. Like, we're just giving them the ball back on the clear. It's not because we're not being successful in our X and O's passing. We're just getting outworked.
And look, I think Coach Corrigan realized
Dana cleaned that up really well.
That's not what he said, but the idea, the theme is true, in that he understands how important, if you're not winning faceoffs, to get ground balls and clear the ball. But Syracuse making them pay again.
Peyton Anderson, and it's a 3-0 run after Notre Dame tied this game at 4.
And Coach Corrigan understands that those clears, that if they don't get those and they're not winning the faceoff X, this can get away from them pretty quickly.
And to your point, that's now 5 goals directly on a possession following a faceoff win.
And that's why the 50-50 ground balls and the clears and like the lack of mental errors is so important, as Syracuse has scored 3 goals in 21 seconds.
Well, it's winning the middle of the field.
And that's where Notre Dame has made their name in the past few years, but Syracuse taking it to them. And again, right now, I mean, Mullen can do whatever he wants. Notre Dame's not even contesting the wings because the clamp is so clean for Mullen that he can pop it, pinch it forward. He's really doing whatever he wants.
It's make it, take it lacrosse right now for Syracuse. Go back to that meeting at the Carrier Dome. Nice move there by English. Mullen and the Orange controlled the possession battle for most of that first half. Hiltz, Buckner falls, had a great look. Thompson, the backup. And the defense has to dig in again.
And look, I think Notre Dame is shorting more often than not some of the attackmen, and you're getting Hiltz to start dodging. You're encouraging Spallina. Like, you almost kind of want them to go away. Like, don't, if you're Notre Dame, like, don't wake them up, right? Like, have the other players try to beat you, but you're getting Hiltz and Spallina being the initiators of offense. That's when Syracuse is going to click on all cylinders.
Notre Dame over the years has disregarded matchups. They'll slide and recover. And we've often heard other coaches describe the defensive philosophy as Notre Dame dares you to make the high-end pass, the high-risk, high-reward pass. Some teams don't want to take that bait. Syracuse is capable of making those passes.
More than almost any team in the country. Again, right here, if I'm Syracuse, I'm looking to English here on the far side of the field, matched up against the short stick. And they're sticking to a script. This was clearly their offensive game plan.
Another goal for the Orange. Sam English, 4 unanswered, and it's coming in eye blink.
I mean, Syracuse going after Notre Dame short stick defenseman. And again, look, it's the subtlety of this dodge right here. I mean, Sam English, predominantly right hand. Look, he's going to do the face dodge, and now he fakes a backhanded flip and keeps it to free his hands up. Like, you're going to see it right here in this angle. Look at this subtle movement right there. The backhand pass, the flip pass that he decides not to execute, gets his hands open as a result of it, and then the ball placement to the far post.
So the first 4 Syracuse goals all assisted, the last 4 unassisted, and the last 4 goals have all come in about a minute and a half, and all have come off of a face-off win. So this is make it, take it.
And Syracuse is, again, Notre Dame, isn't even contesting the wing, right? Like, if you're next to one another, you have a chance at that ground ball, but the face-off X is so clean for Mullen that Notre Dame's just conceding it. They're just saying, we're going to go back on defense and not give them transition opportunities.
Yeah, and the danger has been Syracuse is winning the face-offs, and they're scoring, and then another face-off, rinse and repeat. Here's Hoddle. He's got Shake.
I love his game.
Hiltz's pass gets away. Step down. McCarthy. Shot blocked. Had some English, and the Irish finally get possession. Does Wyatt Hoddle not remind you a little of Joey Sankey?
It does. I mean, the explosiveness, the quickness, the burst. Syracuse 12 shots to Notre Dame's 1 in this quarter. And right there, by the way, Notre Dame dodged a bullet. Ramsey jumps in front of that shot like a hockey player and takes one for the team. Good Roger Dorn moment.
Well, they have a Jake Taylor.
It's all coming full circle.
And now if you're the Irish, are you patient here? Do you have to give your defense a little time to catch its breath?
I think so, especially if you're not winning at the X. But again, this is a Notre Dame team that has been down multiple times by 3-4 goals, and then they go on runs. You blink your eye, and all of a sudden they're up. So they've been here. They know, and they know this is going to be a tough matchup.
The freshman, Luke Miller, 2 points in this first half, a goal. They had an assist earlier, and that stops the Syracuse Avalanche.
Step now, McCool's going to step off the post, and he comes back near side. Like, people don't understand, like, it is the extra half step that you may not appreciate if you don't know the game, but the great players just have an awareness and a sense of the extra step that they have to take to create improved shooting angles.
Many times over the years, we've heard our colleague Ryan Boyle talk about that extra step to increase the angle.
It increases the angle. It also makes the goalie have to make a decision on his body placement in cage.
Loose ball push against the orange. So Notre Dame, after milling in retreat, a chance to press downhill. It's been a while since we've called Chris Kavanaugh's name.
They haven't had the ball.
First midfield for the Irish. Maharis, Angrick, Faison. Matt Jeffrey out today. Left of the last game in a neck brace. Notre Dame would not commit to his status on Sunday. Kavanaugh now against Figueres. Inside roll. Kavanaugh twisted. Still hangs on. Multiple flags down. Free possession. Faison. Quick as a hiccup.
Chris Kavanaugh's ability to maintain possession when he put himself into a dangerous offensive situation. Right here, it's this inside roll. He's now going to get double teamed. Obviously a hold on Syracuse. But to keep his feet moving, to run away from pressure, to now you have Faison against a short stick. Game over. And again, look, if Faison is one of the best receivers, right, like in college football, he is so quick. If he gets going and he starts to get that confidence like we've seen in the past, I mean, like, that's the key to Notre Dame, is like how dominant can they be in the middle of the field.
Mullen wins it ahead. And a timeout by Gary Gate.
Number 29, 14, Faison. His 8th of the season. The assist to 29,
Jordan Faison, 2023 Sun Bowl MVP. This past January, he's playing for Notre Dame football in the college football playoff championship. Not long after helping Notre Dame lacrosse to its second straight national championship. And again, the stuff that he's doing. Now, Matt, you played lacrosse at the highest level. Tewaaraton Award winner, national champion at Virginia. Can you imagine mixing another sport?
No, and the fact that it's a problem that Notre Dame, and we talked to Coach Corbin, it's like, have you figured out how to like ease him back into the season after what he put his body through during the college football season? He's like, it's a work in progress. Like, you know, our goal, bar none, is to have him playing his best lacrosse at the end of the season. And they're working their way there. And again, I think you're starting, again, to me, I mean, look, Aidan McGuire, co-ACC Defensive Player of the Year as a short stick D-Midi. Like, Coach Janowski's like, look, some people have an offensive mindset, some have a defensive one. Sometimes middies don't know who their personality is. He's like, Aidan is a defensive-minded player. That's why he's physical. That's why he's mean. And I mean, what an athlete he is.
He is amongst the national leaders. He's on the fringe of the top 10 in caused turnovers, and he's a short stick D-Midi.
He can push it in transition, too. I mean, he's... A lot of other programs, they'd probably be like, hey, we need you on the offensive end.
You're right. You go back to their win against Richmond in double overtime. It was McGuire who scored the game-winning goal. Hiltz shovels to Leo. Plays it back up top to Roa. We have not called Spallina's name much. Light stays with him despite the pick.
I mean, but Owen Hiltz, credit him. I mean,
English trying to get free from the bagpiper Ramsey. Almost a warding off.
But again, I mean, Owen Hiltz, like, Notre Dame's asking him to initiate some of those short six matchups, and he's showing some quick first steps there. And obviously he's very skilled, but I love him getting a little bit more involved with the ball on his stick, initiating.
He's camped out at X. Leo with Ramsey all over him. Bounce shot. Richard Deli down to his knees for the save.
And that's a good battle from Leo, though. I mean, he's a predominantly left-handed player. Ramsey kind of with a crowbar hold. and then went over the head with the toothpick, and I think that was a mistake on his part and gave Leo that opportunity for a shot.
Notre Dame has not led in this game. Cuse jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Irish drew even at 4-4 before 4 straight by Syracuse. And Notre Dame has scored the last 2. 6 different goal scores for Notre Dame. Taylor, that was his best look.
And McCool, just a nice job in cage.
And it's going to go the other way. They say Dwan closest to the ball on the shot out of bounds unless they change the call. Nope.
But credit McCool there. I mean, look, you're staring down Jake Taylor, one of the best shooters and finishers in college lacrosse, and he does a nice job attacking forward, makes the save, and then Dwan runs it out to get an extra possession for for Syracuse.
McCool, the ACC goalie of the year. 3 goalies made the All-ACC team. There's 5 teams in the league. I want to just leave it there.
Yeah, a little bit of a participation component with the All-ACC selection.
A lot of players on the All-ACC team.
It used to be that making All-ACC was almost harder than making All-American.
You're right.
Maybe not quite the same anymore.
Anderson to Hoddle. McCarthy spun around. Alakwa defending him. Back to Hoddle.
Now again, Hiltz is going to be behind the cage with the short stick. I think clearly Notre Dame's comfortable with those short stick matchups, but I think Hiltz has definitely gotten the better of it so far here in Charlotte.
Hiltz looking to go to work on Buckner, holding his ground. Hiltz, little hitch. Running out of an angle, Richard Deli got a piece. Now Richard Deli up ahead to Kavanaugh. Figueres interrupted. Hoddle on the counter. Syracuse can hold for 1.
And again, part of why I really like Hiltz, the initiating there, Hiltz is an incredible passer. And it's a much easier thing to do as an offensive player is to sit back and see the field and make those passes when you don't have a long stick on you. They're like asking Syracuse, one of the most talented passers, to do it.
Hoddle, another denial by Richard Deli. The Irish have scored on 75% of their shots this quarter. The problem, they've only taken 4 shots. Alakwa with a trailer behind him. Save McCool. And now a whistle.
And I think the refs missed a high hit here on Hoddle.
And Hoddle may have gotten the 2. Florida State, Virginia Tech follows. And then Sunday, it's the series finale for both of those matchups. A lot of softball on ACCN Saturday. Sunday, we get the ACC championship again. No AQ, but it's going to impact seeding for a team like Syracuse. It may impact whether they get in. It's going to impact who's going on the road in round 1 versus who hosts in round 1. And obviously Sunday night, Chris Cotter, Quinn Kesnick, Paul Carcaterra, after the Ivy League championship, they head to Bristol for the selection show. The bubble is kind of non-existent this year unless you have some bid thieves, which gives Syracuse a little bit of calm. But hey, if Army were to hit the at-large field, maybe even Richmond, certainly, if Yale was able to win the Ivy League, you got a bid thief out of the Ivy. Final 20 seconds. Timeout by Gary Gate.
Syracuse doing a nice job competing in the middle of the field on the 50-50 ground balls. That's where just English is a different type of player. What a luxury it is to have that person that can play defense, offense in the middle of the field, never get tired. Not too many teams have players as well-rounded as Sam English.
It is championship week in college lacrosse in the America East. It'll come down to Albany and Bryant. Villanova and Georgetown, both winners last night. Villanova slow start against Providence, big second half. Drexel upset Fairfield in the CAA. Towson has not lost a game to a CAA opponent this season. They got them maybe a first-round home game, and if they were to lose, it may knock them out of the tournament entirely. Got Ohio State and Maryland. I think Maryland, with a win, has a real case with their resume for a 1 seed.
Yeah, and again, Maryland's, I think, a team very similar to Syracuse, right? Like, maybe not the most athletic team, but super skilled in the offense they run. But, I mean, you were talking about Richmond, right? So let's say Richmond. What team wants to play Richmond in the first round?
Nobody, because it also feels like they've been so close in some of these first-round games.
It has to even itself out.
They're overdue for some kind of first-round upset. Along came the Spider.
I mean, they're so well coached, disciplined, really can play any brand, right? I mean, look, Duke, 1-goal game. Maryland, 1-goal game. Beat the heck out of Virginia. I mean, like, that is a good lacrosse team. And, like, I'm just like, you're like, oh, great, we got the 8 seed or this. I mean, look, it could be a 5 seed. It's like we have to play Richmond.
There's Finn Thompson, missed the cage. Meanwhile, Colgate leading Army by 3 in the 4th quarter.
That's the chaos right there.
Syracuse does not want to see Army in the at-large field. Interference, Irish ball with a second. Cornell on top of Yale, 12-6, second quarter. They tried to put some screeners in front. The bagpiper shot stopped by McCool. 8-6. Yo, Matt, if you're Syracuse, the way you controlled possessions and faceoffs, a 2-goal margin seems a little underwhelming, doesn't it?
I think you're a little confused, right? Like we played really, really well, and we won all the small battles. We won the faceoffs. We played well in the cage, and we're up 2. Like, do you panic or do you look at that as a positive at halftime?
Yeah. Meanwhile, you
lacrosse, like, you can win a lot of different ways, and Notre Dame battled in that first half, even though they weren't playing their best lacrosse.
Let's check in with Dana Boyle.
Just something to keep an eye on, guys, in the booth. Number 22, Lynch, for Notre Dame, one of the best face-off guys in the country. His entire left arm was taped up, came off the sidelines in the second quarter, got checked out by the athletic training staff. He is a go here at the stripe, but something to watch out. They've been putting some reserves in there.
Yeah, we've seen Hagstrom, we've seen Gallagher as well. It's Lynch and Mullen, statistically 2 of the top 11 in all of Division I. A lot of good face-off men in the ACC. We'll see Brady Wambach from UNC, who might be a first-team All-American when all is said and done.
And Lynch, you know, to his credit, I think of any face-off man in the country, like, he makes adjustments, right? Like, he can lose face-off after face-off and then figure something out. I mean, a couple years ago, Petey LaSalle for Virginia cleaned his clock in the regular season games. Come the NCAA tournament, roles completely inversed.
Now, Will Lynch in 2023, his play championship weekend, a big reason Notre Dame won that title. Had a terrific year last year. Roa, a couple first half tallies, now English. Trying to get free from the All-American Donovan. Bounce shot, save Ricciardelli. Quick outlet to Ramsey. Ramsey galloping in. Over to Kavanaugh, one more, McLean. Poetry by the Irish.
Ricciardelli for Notre Dame on the defensive end, answering the bell. Again, a good position of the field for English to take that shot, but Ricciardelli does a nice job going low and then reading the bounce, and then that ball is out of his stick in a millisecond to create transition for Notre Dame. And right there, they get it to Kavanaugh, where you have to slide out to him. That opens up passing lanes. He throws a skip pass to McLean. Great start for the Fighting Irish here in the third quarter.
A Notre Dame team that has won 13 in a row in the month of May. Another face-off win by Mullen. Syracuse 15 out of 18 at the X as a team. And Mullen 15 out of 17.
And he's winning him in a variety of ways, to himself, to his wings, making it hard for Notre Dame to make adjustments on how they want to approach that.
He has scored a goal today as well. This is where Syracuse has been so good. They win a face-off, They've turned the possession 6 times into a goal today. McCarthy out there with Hoddle and Anderson as the middies. Hilt, Spallina, and Thompson the attack. 3rd game back for Finn Thompson after missing 6 from the wing, and that one is offline from Anderson. Light picks up Spallina, ACC's leading scorer, against the ACC's co-defensive player of the year. McCarthy all the way, body save Ricciardelli, clamps down, flags up. Looks like we'll get a push with possession.
White, 47, unnecessary roughness, personal foul, 1 minute. White, 47, unnecessary for 1 minute.
Unnecessary roughness, that's Will Gallagher, junior from Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania.
So McCarthy, again, right here, keeps it in his left hand. And then
he's lucky that was only unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, it looked like a high hit to me, more so than like an unnecessary roughness. It wasn't particularly late. It was hands up high, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make an adjustment here on this and go to review it.
They are talking about it. So if they rule it as indirect contact, that's a 1 minute non-releasable penalty.
Right. 1 minute for committing a personal foul.
How about you guys? Can you guys show? We got out into other quarters. You can't. It has to be contact, called contact on the field and check. That is terrible. That's the 3rd hit to the head.
Yeah, so the Syracuse sideline wanted
Again, 47.
the high hit. It will stay as unnecessary roughness.
You're going to see here, right? Yeah, I mean, that's cross-check extending up high. Notre Dame lucky that wasn't a minute locked in or even maybe more.
If they ruled that as a direct hit, now you're talking 2 minutes. Orange on the extra man. 77 in blue Hilt. His passing becomes lethal in the 6-on-5. Spallina off the crossbar. Off the stick of Thompson. Ramsey again. Looking for the punt return clear.
That's a hold right there.
They're going to get Leo. Ramsey, a one-man tempest. And now Notre Dame with a chance to get to even.
How cool is that clear? He was determined to get that ball from the defensive side to the offensive side, and now they're going to cancel out the Syracuse man up and get one of their own. We talk about face-on. It's like, hey, I'm the best athlete on the field. I don't know. Ramsey making his case right there.
You know what that reminded me of? You know, the conversation that's dominated the social media space this week? 100 men against a gorilla.
Yeah. The first 20 have to be willing to go, right?
Right. It's like Ben Ramsey says, yeah, I can take all you guys on. Let's go.
I'd like to be man number 100 in that environment.
I'll take 101.
Angrick against Dwan. Feeds Taylor behind the back shot. And now we get the penalty. So Notre Dame goes man up, 0 for 1 with the extra man today.
7 blue, holds, 30-second technical foul. Reset that shot clock to 60.
Again, Syracuse gets the look they want. They get it to their best, in my opinion, man-up player in Spallina, and just, you know, peppers the iron there. And then here's Ramsey. Just keep moving your feet. I mean, that's the key in lacrosse, right? Even if you get into a place that's trouble on the field, if you keep churning those legs, more often than not, you can get yourself out of a precarious position.
Kavanaugh. Irish have never led. 0 and white. Ricciardelli has been a man-up assassin. He's the brother of the goalie. Ricciardelli's pass knocked down. Now, the man-up offense for Notre Dame this year just has not been remotely close to what it was a year ago.
And right there, they decided to attack Syracuse. Goal line extended and play the two-man game probably in the least dangerous position on the field.
Are they going to get another flag as McCool tried to clear? Now Syracuse with a free possession. Now the Notre Dame sideline incensed.
Back up. I have white number 50, / personal foul, 1 minute. White 50 for a slash, 1 minute.
So they get Chris Kavanaugh with the slash.
Right here, McCool showing the wheels out of the cage, and it's that last back check that they get Kavanaugh with.
Syracuse top 10 with the extra man this season, 51% entering play. 0 for 1 today, and the Orange have missed their last 10 shots.
And Syracuse's man up, what's really unique about them is they don't really have a set play. It's just all feel and flow. It's two-man triangles that no other team has run.
How pretty was that? Greg Elijah Brown, weatherman impression.
Yeah. The exact opposite of what I say will happen. Looks like there's a quick sell here in the Charlotte area.
Put yourself in the shoes of these players. You're in the third quarter of this game, and now you hit the pause button.
It's tough. I mean, I remember my junior year, we're playing Johns Hopkins, and we're down that entire game, and then we make a run and take the lead. A tornado basically comes through Baltimore into the locker room. You lose the momentum that you had gained. We come out of the locker room, Kyle Harrison scores within 10 seconds, and now the game is completely back to neutral.
We will hit pause on ACC semifinal number 1 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Syracuse leading Notre Dame 9-7. Keep it here. We will have updates for you, and we'll relay them to you when we get them. For now, though, we are in a weather delay. Third quarter, semifinal number 1 in the Queen City, 9-7 Syracuse. It's been 50 minutes since we've last played lacrosse here in Charlotte. We're about ready for action. ACC semifinal number 1 was delayed by weather at the 10:21 mark of the third quarter, with Syracuse leading Notre Dame 9-7. And Schroff, Matt Ward, Dana Boyle. If you forgot what happened or you're just joining us, let's get you caught up. Fast start for the Cuse, up 3-0 early.
Yeah, Syracuse did a nice job getting off the bus and bringing their best game early on. And it was the first half of runs, Syracuse up early, and then Seymour for Notre Dame counters with a Notre Dame run. But really, Mullen for Syracuse in the first half made all the difference in the world. Possession after possession, he puts one on the board. Syracuse was up 8-6 at halftime. Could have been more, but credit Notre Dame. There's no quitting this team, and they keep fighting. And they got the game to 8-7 with Syracuse right before the weather delay. Puts one in the back of the net on the man up to take a 2-goal advantage.
Syracuse, big face-off advantage, big possession advantage. Notre Dame's been efficient despite having fewer possessions. And a couple of developments that have occurred over the last hour. One, Matt, Colgate knocking off Army in the Patriot League semis. So Army now in play as an at-large team. You have Syracuse very much on the bubble. A win today for the Orange goes a long way. Yale falls to Cornell. Yale was the only potential bid thief in the Ivy League tournament, so that's good news for Syracuse. Let's check in with Dana Boyle.
Another good news, Anish, is if you're John Mullen at the face-off stripe, you just went 13 for 15 in that first half. But during the weather delay, Will Lynch, the face-off specialist for Notre Dame, was given 42. Christian Gallagher some tips. You see that 22 for Will Lynch has his entire left arm taped up, so he's struggling with a bit of an injury on the left side, but he was trying to teach Christian Gallagher how to counter Mullen if he doesn't win it, force him back, and disrupt him at the X.
Mullen has dominated Notre Dame now in 2 games at the X this season. And the other big injury coming into the game for Notre Dame, ACC Freshman of the Year Matt Jeffrey out. He left last week's game with Penn in a neck brace. That's going to be against Syracuse, so Notre Dame ball. So no Jeffrey, out tonight. Notre Dame would not reveal his status if the Irish would get
to Sunday, so it remains to be seen if Jeffrey will play on Sunday, but certainly out today. Will Maharis, 16 in white, taking Jeffrey's spot on that first midfield. Chris Kavanaugh. 7 different goal scorers for the Irish. Kavanaugh with a goal and an assist. Angrick inverts Carter Rice. Angrick gets a step, top side, and scores.
A choppy offensive possession for Notre Dame, but Angrick does a nice job getting that ground ball and then the individual effort from behind. And if you were to ask me, you know, who the next 5 minutes is most important to, I really think it's Notre Dame, because they were getting outplayed but were close. And so every extra possession they can get, every opportunity to make Syracuse start to sweat, self-doubt comes into the mind of the Syracuse Orange.
Yeah, and a chance now for Notre Dame. Johnny Racusa at the face-off X for Syracuse after Mullen violated on the last one. So Notre Dame with Will Lynch out there, a chance to tie and to gain possession. Now, Matt, you've been through weather delays yourself. What's the challenge when you return to action?
It's hard to get up, you know, for the start of a game twice, right? Like early on, like Syracuse definitely had more energy than Notre Dame, and like I don't want to say I'm sensing the opposite, but right now back-to-back possessions for Notre Dame, a quick goal, down by 1, in a game where they haven't had much possession. A lot of different ways to win a lacrosse game.
Syracuse 9, Notre Dame 8.
A second to midfield now for the Irish. Finley, Seymour, and Buzenkill. 6 in white, Fisher Finley, 6'6", out of Alpharetta, Georgia. Kavanaugh from behind, marked by Figueres. Top takeaway man for the Cuse. Seymour's got a goal today. Big 6'4" frame. Now McLean, the Brown transfer. 4 goals last week in the win against Penn. Kavanaugh, the ACC's Offensive Player of the Year. Spins it back to Seymour. Charging down the alley, flag down. Notre Dame's gonna have an extra man. Shot clock at 8. Kavanaugh inside to Taylor, missed an easy one, but the Irish will have the EMO. Taylor doesn't miss many of those.
I think it's going to be a high hit on Kokemo.
Blue 28. It's a hold for 30-second technical foul.
So they're going to call this a cross-check hold. You're going to see the hands separated, get up towards the head. I think that's a good call. And again, here, just Kavanaugh now at the end of the shot clock. After a nice long possession, gets it to his main man, Jake Taylor, who usually buries those. A little quick on the release, but he's the ultimate inside player. Like, he knows the pace that he wants to finish those at. Just a rare miss.
He and Chris Kavanaugh both in the top 5 all-time in goals at Notre Dame. Behrman spins it to McLean, probing from the outside. Kavanaugh back to McLean. Inside, Richard Delly missed it. Richard Delly's the man-up specialist. 21 career EMO goals, 5 this season. And he was shooting 11 of 15 prior to that. Kavanaugh stopped by Jimmy McCool. His outlet pass deflected. Kavanaugh gets it back. Dwan altered the shot, I believe. It'll stay with the Irish.
Syracuse. And McCool tries the quick outlet, but Jake Taylor had his stick in the passing lane, knocks it down, and then Kavanaugh, right? You don't see Kavanaugh and Taylor miss too many of those opportunities. Syracuse lucky to still be up by 1.
McLean, marked by Hoddle. That's a matchup. They have Hoddle trapped on defense. Kavanaugh, Angrick, lost it. A collision. Bodies flying. Taylor near the sideline, popped into the air. And it's going to be Syracuse ball. But Taylor wanted a loose ball push. Clearing, Matt, has been an issue for Syracuse in a few games down the stretch. They struggled to clear against Notre Dame in the second half in early April. Allowed Notre Dame to get back into the game. They struggled to clear last week against UNC at home.
This is a big possession for Syracuse. Again, what worked for them in the first half was identifying who had the short stick matchup, whether it was English or whether it was Leo, and initiate with them and move off ball.
This is Leo of their top 6. He's their best one-on-one Dodger. Roa, 8 in blue, 2 goals today. Wheels it back to X. Owen Hiltz, checked by Schwitzenberg. Now picked up by the short stick Reinhardt.
And this is a good matchup for Syracuse.
Hiltz tries to get inside, he does! The goal is good, and a flag down. Owen Hiltz with a hat trick.
Great things happen when you dodge hard. This play also.
And Carolina battle the Blues as the skies begin to boil to black. That's still coming your way. UNC won the regular season meeting in Durham, 8-7. It was the Heels' first win in Durham since their championship season in 2016. When Syracuse beat Notre Dame in early April, it snapped a 7-game losing streak for the Orange against the Irish. And though Matt, Notre Dame had beaten Syracuse and beaten them badly in those 7 games, they were winning those games by about 8 goals per.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC's been interesting, right? Like Notre Dame had Duke's number and Syracuse's number. Duke has Virginia's number for 20 straight years, but then for a while there, Virginia had Notre Dame's number. So it's, you know, it's a loaded conference. Some teams' styles match up differently and better against certain opponents.
Sam English, excellent two-way midi. All ACC honors, Princeton transfer, second season with the Cuse. A captain against the All-American Donovan. Now Roa, down the alley, snakes in, Richard Deli steps up for the veto.
Great offense from Syracuse there. English does a nice job in the 2-man game with Leo, and then switches the field and gives Roa an opportunity to dodge without any slide present.
Jordan Faison getting away from 28, Nick Kakemo. ACC championship game Sunday. Winner of this game and the winner of North Carolina Duke. Selection show that night. First round next weekend. Quarterfinals this year. Hofstra and Annapolis. Championship weekend up in Foxborough. Kavanaugh twirls away from trouble. Here's a chance. Bounce shot by Harris. Rebound knocked into the air. Taylor has it. Dwan lost his helmet. They didn't throw a flag, and the shot clock didn't reset either.
Well, listen here, but they're going to blow the play dead because Dwan's helmet came off. That's a huge advantage for Syracuse. It should be a second penalty.
Now we'll get a flag.
But his helmet comes off. He just show his helmet off and in the play anytime? That's not what he did there, but we have blue 50, unnecessary roughness, personal foul for 1 minute. Blue 50, unnecessary, 1 minute.
So
used to be the in-home, blue 23. We have blue 23, legal procedure, technical 30 seconds. Helmet came off during the field of play while the flag was down. 30-second technical on 2-3 blue.
So that should be 35, Billy Dwan.
Correct, and that's the right call.
Yeah. You cannot continue to play without equipment. And so that's the procedure call.
It's a bad break for Dwan, right? Like, this was nothing intentional. He's making a hard play and a ground ball. But you have to protect the offense in that advantage situation.
6-on-4 here, a chance for the Irish. Down 2. Kavanaugh up top. Over to McClain. McCool
That is a gigantic save. Notre Dame with a two-man advantage.
And I just feel Notre Dame's man-up offense doesn't rotate enough. Everyone stays in the same position the entire possession. No one's cutting to the crease. They're not changing from a 2-3-1 to a 3-3 to a circle set. It's just very stagnant offensively as Notre Dame is 0 for 4 on man-up with 5 shots and 1 turnover.
And they came into the game 31% on the extra man. That's 48th nationally. Last year, their man up was among the very best we have ever seen. You went man up on Notre Dame, you were asking for it.
It was different, right? They had that true quarterback in Pat Cavanaugh. Then you had Chris Cavanaugh in the danger zone as a shooter. And they just don't have, they're asking Chris to kind of play that quarterback role, and that's not his strength as Syracuse makes him pay.
Finn Thompson off the feed from Leo. Talk about a pendulum swing. Missed opportunity for the Irish with a two-man advantage. Syracuse capitalizes on the other end.
Again, Syracuse, a nice job on the 6-on-4, really packing it in, making them take that outside shot. You trust the ACC goalie of the year in McCool. And then right here, Leo, just a nice job getting to the middle of the field and becoming dangerous, right? Ramsey lets him to his strong left hand. Now you have a lot of eyes drawn to Leo sliding up the field, and Thompson steps off the back door and the quick release. If you let offensive players get to their strength, you compromise the defense.
Mullen jumped.
Faceoff's been much more competitive here since the rain delay.
You got time to watch tape, make some adjustments.
And look, Lynch makes adjustments as well as anybody.
Everybody's got the iPad these days. 77 in white, the freshman Luke Miller back into the game. He's had a goal and an assist. Cavanaugh, 1 goal, 1 assist. ACC Offensive Player of the Year. Booze and kill with a tally. 8 goals from 8 different players for Notre Dame. Seymour's got 1. Less than 2 minutes left in the third.
Miller had success early in the game inverting.
Does it again here.
Another quick movement here. Should be a nice opportunity to dodge the backside if you're Notre Dame.
5 to shoot. Notre Dame's got to go. Seymour doesn't have an angle. And boy, that was awfully close to delay of game. Got to be careful with those, with the shot clock winding down. .90 seconds to go, third quarter. At stake, Syracuse, a bubble team. Can they get in with a loss? They could. A win goes a long way. For Notre Dame, Matt, you get the sense a win and Notre Dame gets to host a first-round game. A loss, that could get murky.
First round is going to be interesting. Like, usually, or at least 2, 3, 4 years ago, you felt like you could look at the bracket and be like, I'm going to get this all right. Good luck this year. Notre Dame on the road potentially in the first round.
It's a big difference. Arlotta's arguably the best home field in the country right now. Final 40 seconds, quarter number 3. Hoddle on the invert.
It's been an interesting game, right? I feel like since the rain delay, Notre Dame's had more possession, but Syracuse has stretched their lead, right? It's kind of been like that, I thought Syracuse should have been up big at halftime as they push here with 7 seconds left of the shot clock.
Anderson gets sandwiched. Gallagher off the ground. Final 10 ticks.
And Hiltz, nice.
Hiltz, yard sale.
Flag down. And we get a little bit of carnage to close the third quarter. Jake Taylor, a little bit of an elbow. Remember, Syracuse got real physical with Taylor in the first meeting. And now the officials get in to try to bring calm.
I think the refs are going to look here if this is a high hit.
Hiltz was in pursuit.
Coach Corrigan not happy with Jake Taylor. Right, this is one of your marquee players making potentially a devastating mistake with seconds left. It's just not worth it. Especially with the unreleasable that can be a result of some of these late or high hits.
Officials still in a huddle. Now we'll get the call.
Look, it wasn't as bad. It was Taylor going for a ball. There's a trip there. A different story if it was a high hit, unreleasable.
Moments ago, Dana Boyle with Kevin Corrigan.
Coach Corrigan, how do you put yourself back in the driver's seat here in the fourth quarter?
We got to make our shots. We had better opportunities and more opportunities in that last 10 minutes than they did. We just didn't make ours. Simple as that. You got to make plays if you want to win a game.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was the point I was hitting on, though, a few moments ago. Felt like Notre Dame probably played its best lacrosse, but the lead got further away.
And the Irish in the last 8:15 of the third quarter, only one shot. Their scoreless streak now going on 10 minutes.
But just look at the difference of the man-ups here. That just constant movement from Syracuse versus Notre Dame standing still.
Hiltz dangerous on the man up.
Again, you can just see the constant triangle offense from Syracuse, just working two sides of the three-man game.
And it's Spallina to Elijah Brown. That's the second time with the extra man those two have connected.
And it's just, it looks different. It looks like they're throwing and passing the ball with more intention than what we've seen from the Fighting Irish. But again, they just run two triangles on either side. It's a bunch of carrying and filling in the backside, right? You can see this right-sided triangle over here. When they pass the ball over, you can see Finn Thompson kind of carry. And now you have the wide open Elijah Brown getting his second of the game from the exact same spot. Just speaks to their understanding of spacing and flow of how they can run a man up that has no set plays.
Yeah, undisciplined from Notre Dame that led to that goal. Jake Taylor still watches from the sidelines. Coach Corrigan, very unhappy, would not allow him to go in that huddle in between the third and fourth quarter. Said you don't deserve to be in the huddle if you're going to retaliate like that as a veteran leader out there on the field.
Yeah, wow.
I don't disagree with him.
Senior captain.
And I think Coach Corrigan was more upset, not with necessarily the trip, but it was from the end of the quarter, walking back to the bench. He was engaging with multiple Syracuse players. And look, he was lucky not to get a penalty, but you're also firing up the other team. You're getting that bench riled up, and you're stealing some of the momentum you thought you were building as a team. And that's something Coach Corrigan probably hasn't had to worry about with Jake Taylor, right? Like, he's not been that person, and like, we all make mistakes, but it's what led to his frustration.
Yeah, sixth-year senior, one of the most prolific goal scorers in the history of Notre Dame lacrosse. Faison plays it back to Angrick. His shot blocked. Grace shoveled it toward the end line. It'll be Notre Dame ball. 37 seconds on the shot clock. Now, the Irish of late have had these lapses, scoring droughts, but we've also seen, Matt, that when they turn it on, their blitz is real. Kavanaugh, that one got a piece of McCool. Faison, step down. McCool read it all the way.
And McCool doing a great job being offensive as a goalkeeper, stepping out, meeting the shooters. He's not sitting on the goal line. He is being proactive and coming out, really cutting off the angle for those shooters. Really great positioning from McCool and Cage.
A dozen saves, a baker's dozen now for McCool. He's north of 60% for the game. He's done that 6 previous times this season. took over for a pretty good one in Will Mark, and McCool, in his first year as a starter, ACC goalie of the year. Richard Deli, Notre Dame's goalie, tops in the ACC in save percentage. McCool, number 2. Leo against Ramsey. Good defense by Ramsey. Spallina gives it up quickly with Light encroaching. Now it's English against Donovan. Behind the cage, Hiltz.
And here's that matchup now. Leo's got the short stick.
Leo driving on the bagpiper, Ramsey. Shot clock at 10. At 4. At 3. That one lasered out of bounds. A shot clock violation.
Richard Deli kind of lucky that wasn't on cage. He couldn't see it or misread it. He was on his knees. And that was a low to high release from Roa. Notre Dame 0 for 9.
They have now gone scoreless for 13 plus minutes.
They really haven't had a high quality scoring opportunity.
Well, the best one they had was on that 6-on-4. McLean had his shot altered by Figueres. That was a big pivot point in the game. McCool makes a save. Cuse goes back the other way and scores.
And look, to me, that was kind of Notre Dame taking the first shot. Your 6-on-4 BP, like, you can do better. You can wear the defense down and get a point-blank shot by just having 2 extra attackers on the field. So I thought McLean pulled that shot a little too soon. And look, it's made a huge difference. Like, that was momentum stolen from Notre Dame and given to Syracuse.
No Matt Jeffrey for Notre Dame today. We had a weather delay in the third quarter of more than 50 minutes. Finley using the pick. Forced that shot. The backup to Richard Deli.
And look, I think Notre Dame offense is great, but you kind of see what they're missing from not having a Pat Kavanaugh, right? Like, obviously every team's going to hurt.
Oh, a chance there. Buzenkill off the Kavanaugh feed. 7 to shoot.
Teams are going to struggle if they lose the Torton winner, right? Like, of course. But how they knew how to play off of each other and how they complemented each other. Now you're seeing a lot more of Chris initiating, which he's good at. But he's better as that second attackman off his brother because he's so dynamic. Off ball, shooting, release, dodging off of ball movement, versus now it's kind of like, hey, I'm going. And he's not bad. He's not elite at that one specific part of the game.
Meanwhile, another empty possession for the Irish. 10 minutes to go. Again, for Syracuse, a win today goes a long way on Selection Sunday.
And it means more today than it did, 2 hours ago?
Yeah, with Army losing. Army now in play for an at-large. Although Army lost to Colgate, so their RPI, which was 12, will probably drop at least a few spots. Syracuse came into the game with an RPI of 10. Notre Dame at the moment would be a top 5 RPI win. A lot of folks look at the polls. The polls are meaningless when it comes to the selection committee. Alakwa racing upfield. Spallina in pursuit. Now he'll wait for the cavalry. Faison running out of the box. Ramsey's got the ball against Hoddle. This is a matchup here for Notre Dame. Hoddle, an offensive midi.
And there's an opportunity here for Notre Dame in the substitution game.
And they throw it away.
Oh, great play.
Gallagher flips it back in for Faison.
How smart was that, too? Like, he knew it was a goose situation. He turned his stick upside down and used the back of his stick to direct that versus just keep it on the other side. So Faison could get that ground ball easily.
Yeah, if it lands in his stick, well, he's over the line. That's over and back. Kavanaugh's had a quiet game against Figueres. Kavanaugh now picked up by Dwan on the switch.
Nice defense from Syracuse.
Ramsey poked away. Ball is loose. Shot clock at 12. Ramsey gets it back, bounces it too high. Did McCool get a piece of it? He did, and that'll reset the shot clock to 60.
Ramsey playing determined. But McCool, how good has he been?
He's 14 out of 22.
Kevin Corrigan puts his hands up. Ramsey will run off. By Harris. Joins the midfield trio. Faison lost it.
Faison trying to fight Town Hall. Getting to the middle of the field.
We get another shot clock reset to 60. Scoring drought for the Irish. Now 16 and a half minutes. McLean, doorstep, Richard Deli. Quick stick score. Is that the goal that sparks an Irish comeback?
A long possession for the Irish. Got a couple loose balls. 50-50 ground balls coming up for the Irish. And they get their first goal in some time on the nice feed. And Richard Deli, backdoor cut, gets the...
View offers at Polestar.com.
Notre Dame won the ACC championship last year. A win today and the Irish lock up, in all likelihood, a first-round home game. A loss, it gets murky for Syracuse. A win today goes a long way on Selection Sunday. A loss, and Selection Sunday turns into a sauna. Dana, Jeffrey Ricciardelli, the goalie's brother, scored that last goal. He's in the game because Jake Taylor isn't.
He's been on the sidelines, Anish, the entire fourth quarter after that retaliation out of the sub box in between the third and fourth quarter. He's not even close to the sub box. It doesn't appear that he's going in, but that end of the scoring jump, but can they make a comeback without Jake Taylor? I don't know if it's possible.
It's going to be harder, right? And again, like, look, I think it was maybe not ideal for one of your six-year players to make that mistake.
Chance here for the Cuse, unsettled.
But I think if you're trying to win the ACC, you got to get him back in the game. He's too talented as an offensive player.
And right now on the offensive half for Notre Dame, the three attackmen are Kavanaugh, Ricciardelli, and McLean.
And look, if I was Coach Corrigan, I'd be more upset if it was like a high hit 2-3 minute penalty for no reason. It was more, he didn't even get flagged when he was walking off the field. He was just engaging the Syracuse players, but the refs let him do it. So it's look, I understand sending the message as a coach, but it's also one of your leaders. Like, I love him on the field.
Yeah, sixth-year senior. English, doorstep, Hiltz stings the top shelf. 4 goals for Owen Hiltz.
We've talked a lot about Hiltz today and his ability to initiate more so than what we've seen throughout the season. This is what we're accustomed to. The lefty can absolutely sling the rock. Just, I mean, look, I love the angle we're going to see here. The skip pass from English, the look away from English, and then look at that accuracy, low to high, near side. He's put it all together tonight. 4 goals, but honestly, the goals to me, like, I like the other stuff more. Right? I mean, Hiltz ran all the way down on that ride and caused the turnover. Like, he's doing things that he gets questioned at times, like, can he be that person? And he's answering that tonight.
And that was what led to the Jake Taylor penalty. Syracuse scored on the ensuing possession at the start of the fourth quarter. Now let's see if Notre Dame goes into the ride. They bring pressure. A big ground ball here. 13-9 Cuse. They beat the Irish at the Dome 14-9. Flag down. Back on the 5th of April. Notre Dame's previous 3 losses before that game, going back to last year, were all by 1 goal. They lost to Ohio State and Maryland by a single goal this year. Lost to Georgetown by a goal last year.
And it looks like there's 2 flags down now, so unless Notre Dame scores, they're going to be up 2 again.
Syracuse has 7 guys on the field defensively.
Well, it's offsides, right? One of their...
Might as well stay offsides, right?
Exactly.
Faison. We come up on 5.5 to play. Irish trying to erase a 4-goal deficit. Pass picked off. And now another man-up opportunity. So far, the Irish 0 for with the extra man.
And really haven't generated what I would call a high-quality shot. Just, to me, a little stagnant offensively.
Two fouls, both on blue. Blue 19 slash 1 minute. Blue 22, offsides, technical foul for 30. 19 slash 1 minute, 22, offsides, 30.
And look who's back into the game, Jake Taylor.
When offensive, the man up, right? Like, you have your core unit, you have set plays, like, you got to get your best players in there. Maybe this is Door back into the field for the rest of this half. But again, for Notre Dame, just that right there is even holding the ball too long. You need the ball moving quickly and make the defense rotate. Syracuse's defensive players have not moved. They've all stayed in their exact same spot, and you're taking outside shots. Like, you can generate better quality shots by moving the ball quickly, changing the side of attack, and rotating sets.
They feed inside to Taylor. He has it dislodged.
And that's fool's gold.
McCool falls down, double teamed, trying to escape. Loose ball on the ground. McCool's out of the cage. Taylor, save McCool! Two Irish players get tangled up with each other. It'll stay with Notre Dame. So far, the Irish 0 for 4 on the extra man. McLean. McCool is there again.
McLean think that went.
Thought it went in. Kavanaugh, pass gets away. 4.5 to go. And Notre Dame, Matt, they've had their opportunities with these EMOs.
This year.
We may get a red flag. Kevin Corrigan's going to throw. At this point, nothing to lose.
Right, yeah, and it was hard to tell. The net moved, but from our angle here, you can kind of see it behind the cage that it's sticking out a little bit, but he sees the rip from McLean. And McLean's pointing to the goal as a rip, and Dwan's trying to tie it up.
One more look
here. No, it was outside. Right? If you're asking, that looks to me that McCool saves it, and you can see there's some slack on the net behind the cage, which is what it looks like it hit from our angle.
You're going to go look for challenging to see the last shot was a goal.
I understand McLean thinking because it definitely hit the net, and the net's not strung tight enough on the side. We'll take an angle here. You can definitely see McCool gets a piece of it, and it's the outside of the net.
It should be an easy review.
But I was like on my text chain with a bunch of the older lacrosse guard from UVA. I'm like, man, Notre Dame's the best team. And then I watch it happen. I'm like, oh wait, Notre Dame's not that team. And then they're back on, and then they're off.
In spurts, they have been, but then there have been other spurts where they look extremely vulnerable.
Yeah, and again, like, is that a team that can put it all together for a whole NCAA tournament, especially as the time to recover shortens?
And Matt, especially you go in as the two-time defending champion, you're getting everybody's best shot. Irish in a 10-man ride. And that is a shot, which means possession to Syracuse. The Orange had the backup. Oh, for Syracuse, you cannot underscore the importance of this game. And if they win, and if they hold on, they had lost 3 in a row. Any bit of chaos, and you get a little edgy if you're Syracuse. Army losing to Colgate. I think that's going to be a very interesting discussion on Selection Sunday. Army's got the North Carolina win. They have a loss to BU. A lot of their quote-unquote bigger games just didn't hold up in terms of RPI. Strength of schedule, a lot inferior compared to Syracuse's, but Army also, again, the eye test they have, unfortunately, for the selection committee, there's nothing in the criteria that says eye test. Shot clock at 3, at 2, tops it between the legs, save Richard Deli. Ramsey triple teamed, puts it on the ground, Campese picks it up, shovels it back to Donovan.
This is a different Syracuse team that I've seen any game all year. Not like offensively, they've had games like, but man, like in the middle of the field, the compete level, the physicality of what they brought to this field today.
McCool got a piece of that one, looked like a pass. Faison gets it back, shoots. Well, let's see what the ruling is here. In the crease, Notre Dame. Yeah, Matt, the 2 games against Notre Dame have been arguably Syracuse's best 2 performances of the season when you factor in the opponent. They've been physical. Defensively, they've done their job. That's going to go back the other way. Ronan Doherty, the cause turnover. 18 saves for McCool, but he won't stop Chris Kavanaugh. Not over yet, 13-10, 2:19 to go. And there's a man down for the Cuse.
Kind of a chaotic sequence there. Really, Notre Dame's best offense has come in transition off of caused turnovers in the ride, ground balls, picking the ball up quickly and attacking the opposite direction. Right here, like Kavanaugh, the low to high finish near side. Nothing McCool can do on that. He's at 18 saves today, his career high.
Riley Figueres limping off the field.
And I know what a cramp looks like. That is definitely getting that knot in the calf muscle.
That's chasing Chris Kavanaugh around for almost 60 minutes. Throwing a weather delay. Figueres wears number 11, which to that Syracuse defense is what 22 is on offense.
And Notre Dame's made a change here late in the game. They're double polling at the midfield line, trying to contest on those ground balls. But, you know, the answer to that is win it directly to yourself.
Mullen has been sensational tonight. 19 out of 23. So Syracuse, after losing 7 in a row to Notre Dame, are looking at a second straight win over the Irish. Timeout Syracuse, 1:59 left. When we paused for weather, this was a 9-7 game. After the delay, Notre Dame scores. Will Angrick, that made it 9-8. Since then, all Syracuse.
Yeah, and look, it started on that 2-man down defensive effort from Syracuse. And again, Hiltz has been awesome today. I mean, he has done all the little things well. And then Syracuse, again, has done a nice job attacking the middle of the field. And then just their slickness off ball and their skill passing just opens the door. And for Hiltz to get that one, then again, McCool, he's on a heater right now with his play in the goal. Against North Carolina, he was outstanding tonight, career highs and saves, showing why he was the ACC goalie of the year.
7 stops by McCool in the fourth quarter.
I've just been so impressed with his aggressiveness in the cage, right? Like, and look, each goalie has their own style where they sit back on their heels and stay goal line. McCool definitely kind of cheats out and cuts off angle, but he doesn't do it in a reckless way. Some goalies who are really aggressive coming out are one stick fake away from having the entire goal exposed. You don't see that or feel that way with McCool and Cage.
Outside of the game against Harvard, where he was pulled, and the game against Cornell, McCool has been superb all season. He was Will Mark's understudy the last 2 years. He roomed with Mark on the road. Will Mark was a mentor. The two incredibly close. They helped each other, pushed each other. And there was a moment late last year where Gary Gate saw Will Mark struggling a bit, and he contemplated putting in Jimmy McCool. And I remember asking him, I said, how close is it right now? And he said, I think they're very close. He said they were close before the season, and now you're watching what Jimmy McCool can do.
Yeah, what's it say? Like you have two goalies, you don't have one, but clearly not the case.
Hiltz into the empty net right off the restart. He didn't waste any time. That's his 5th goal. Matt, that tells me they have faith in John Mullen at the faceoff X.
Yeah. You know, Notre Dame knowing with under 2 minutes here that they need to cause some chaos and turnovers. They start with the double team right off the dead ball window. Now you're in a very vulnerable position there, right? To double team in front of the cage. But again, that's why you call a timeout where you do, because it makes it very hard for the defense to apply that type of pressure.
But if you got a guy who's winning 40% at the X, that's not the play. Mullen wins it for Syracuse. You're allowed to go over and back in the first 20 seconds of the shot clock. Syracuse, though, turns it over after winning the faceoff. McCool got a piece, and it's Syracuse ball.
And look where McCool was, right? I mean, he makes that save. He's playing so aggressive. But, I mean, look, you look at this Notre Dame game, right? It's 14-10. 20-7 on the faceoffs for Syracuse, right? So, like, if Notre Dame is 50-50 on faceoffs, what's the score, right? Like, so I don't think we're saying, hey, this Notre Dame can't do it all. Like, clearly they don't face off well against Notre Dame. But all the other matchups where they face off well, because Lynch is one of the best attack or face-off men in the country. Like, the fact that this is 14-10 when they've had such a deficiency in time, right? I mean, Mullen's 20 of 24 at the X. Like, you would think the score would be 20-7 when a team like Syracuse gets that much extra possession.
A 4-goal lead with a minute to go. And Syracuse will secure a place in the ACC championship game. Richard Delly got back to the cage to fish that one out. Duke, North Carolina, ACC semifinal number 2. Maharis with 40 seconds. Alakwa, Ramsey. Maharis pushed from behind. They say loose ball push. And now it's getting chippy. Ochoa and Kavanaugh exchange a couple of shoves. Flags down. Jimmy McCool doing it all, playing peacemaker now.
You just assume he's the peacemaker because he's a goalie. He's not in there riling him up.
There's a goalie that I work
Turner,
with.
who's sitting down here, would definitely be in the middle of it for sure.
There's a goalie we work with who does chirp often.
Who would probably have started it.
Focus on us!
Now this makes it interesting here over the final 34 seconds. Five on 3. Notre Dame 0 for 5 with the extra man today. And that includes a missed opportunity with a 2-man advantage. McLean, step down. Irish get one back, 14-11. That didn't take a lot of time. 28 seconds to go.
And so one of those penalties should be releasable, maybe 2 for Syracuse. I think you may be now, you're going to be all even here, 5 on 5.
So it's 5 on 5 with Ochoa and Kavanaugh still in the box. So Mullen and Lynch with Grace and Donovan as the lone wings on the near side for the faceoff.
Chuck Kuzinski has 30 seconds for a push. Bigger penalties.
Now 26 in blue, Chuck Kaczynski to one of the face-off wings. Notre Dame trying to get organized Gary Gate waiting for the explanation.
These guys locked that.
I feel like I'm watching the last 10 seconds of an NBA basketball game with all
It's the hour of your life.
How do we face off? With one guy, right?
Honey, there's only 10 seconds left. I'll be ready in 5 minutes.
Exactly. I mean, think about that too, right? So 14-11. McCool has 19 saves. I mean, McCool has an off game, an average game, right?
Could be a different story.
Now, look, credit Syracuse's defense for forcing, I think, Notre Dame into maybe not their normal quality of shot, but they still generated a lot of offensive opportunities with very few possessions.
So Syracuse doesn't have a wing here. Ramsey able to win this for the Irish. A chance to make it a 2-goal game. Ramsey, low shot, save number 20 for Jimmy McCool, but there is a flag.
I'm still not sure why Syracuse has 3 people in the box.
17th of the season is his to 10. Anchor. 18.8 seconds remaining.
30 seconds.
We're going to get an offsides now on Syracuse.
5-on-2?
But you can't because you have to have somebody on the defensive half of the field. He never went across the line. Yes, he did. That's why I
If it's a loose ball, it shouldn't be a penalty then, right?
But why were those Syracuse penalties outside
If it's a loose ball, it shouldn't be a penalty.
the 50s kind of, again, the unreleasable penalties? Those other ones were a push in the back, and I'm not sure why those are non-releasable penalties.
Yeah, this is...
I mean, Syracuse's whole team is in the penalty box, it looks like.
And there's a lot of confusion on both sidelines. Kevin Corrigan's holding a red challenge flag, but he has lost his challenge.
Does he want another Syracuse player off the field? I'm trying to... What is the...
So you still have a 5-on-3 here for the Irish. 18 seconds to go. Stranger things have happened. Behrman, McLean. It'll stay with Notre Dame. 11 seconds left. And Syracuse still has 3 guys in the box.
4.
And that's a shot and a score from Angrick. 7.8 seconds to go. 14-12. Now the Syracuse coaches are trying to figure out the personnel situation.
So the offsides has to be released. I'm very confused.
Right, the offsides penalty should be released.
But why was the push in the back that was the first penalty there not released? I think there was only one unsportsmanlike penalty per team.
Boy, this could get real interesting if Notre Dame scores a goal here very quickly. So,
Ball on the ground. Chuck's penalties released at 2 seconds.
Good job. I can go with 2 seconds left.
Mullen able to win the faceoff. And this should do it. So, a little bit of a chaotic, messy ending. But Syracuse holds on for a 14-12 win. Got chippy. We had a 5-on-3 at the end. But the Orange will play in the ACC Championship Sunday. Notre Dame will now find out its fate on Selection Sunday. Will the Irish have a first-round home game at Arlada, which is one of the best home field advantages in the sport right now, maybe the best? Or do the 2-time defending champions have to go on the road in round 1? That's going to be one of the storylines on Sunday.
Yeah,
and for Syracuse, Matt, this is a huge win for a team that came in reeling, having lost 3 in a row, and was very much on the bubble when it comes to the selection process.
Look, 14 goals against one of the top